watching Primetime. I'm Tamanna Inamdar.
And my name is Ayush Alavadi. Let's take a look at the headlines first. On the first anniversary of demonetisation, the government and the opposition face off over the impact of the cash ban had on the Indian economy.
Vijay Shekhar Sharma of Paytm says regulatory changes are weeding out non-serious players and leaving Paytm stronger.
Aadhaar is now mandatory for insurance policies. The regulator asks all general and life insurers to link existing and new policies with immediate effect.
Arvind Limited's board approves the demerger of branded apparel and engineering businesses. Chairman Sanjay Lalbhai says the demerger will help individual businesses chart their own growth paths.
Government and private schools in the national capital will be shut till Sunday due to pollution. Civil construction has also been stopped in the city and trucks are banned in the city as well.
And of course, it has been exactly 1 year since Prime Minister Modi shook the country with his announcement rendering 86% of currency invalid. It is 1 year of demonetisation and his move left everyone from the common man to the rich and mighty shell-shocked. What followed was utter chaos. Scores of people lined up to exchange notes and banks struggling to keep up.
A stuttering economy threatened to stall and the political blame game had no end. So how far have we come since that fateful day on November 8th, 2016? Here's a special report.
The excitement of Diwali had just died down. It had been a decent one for business. Online retailers were reporting strong sales. Footfalls in malls were healthy. The hope was that a good monsoon will push up rural sales to help complement steady urban demand. A build-up of debt on corporate balance sheets and a pile of bad loans on bank books had meant that private investment was near absent. This was the backdrop against which came an alert that the Prime Minister would address the nation on the evening of November 8th. What followed took the nation, perhaps even the world, by surprise.
We have decided that the 500 rupee and 1000 rupee currency notes presently in use will no longer be legal tender from midnight to night.
A quick look at the data confirmed the worst fears. 86% of the country's currency would now be invalid. The concern immediately after the announcement was how the banking sector would manage a currency exchange program this large. No matter how hard banks strategized, they couldn't prevent the chaos that followed.
Well, it's really very, very sad because I had to leave all my goods back. And I had to just buy what I had in my purse with my 2 rupee notes and my 50 rupee notes.
मोदी जी ने काम ठीक किया, लेकिन थोड़े से आदमियों को एक मगरमच्छ को पकड़ने के लिए तालाब का पानी सुखा दिया जिसमें मछलियां भी हैं, चिड़ियां भी हैं, काफ़ी योग्य सबको काम आता था. ये गलत है.
A year has now passed since demonetisation was announced. Some of the dust has settled. So was it all worth it? The answer changes based on your choice of data. Growth slipped in the January to March and April to June quarters, but the impact of demonetisation is expected to wane as time passes. On the positive side, currency in circulation is lower than it was before demonetisation, and digital transactions have increased. But did demonetisation achieve the objective of hitting the black economy? And has it changed the cash-loving behaviour of Indians? It may take years to answer these questions with any degree of conviction.
Now, the note ban certainly hit the economy's growth rate, but most importantly, it also took a toll on jobs. India's unemployment rate continues to be high, and the note ban only added to that concern.
Now, a survey by the All India Manufacturers Organisation has found job losses to the tune of 35 to 55% among traders and in industry since November 8th last year. To discuss that survey, we're joined by Mr. K.E. Raghunathan. He is National President of All India Manufacturers Organisation. Thank you, sir, for speaking with Bloomberg Quint. Can you explain the salient points of this survey? Because you've been doing this consistently since 8th of November last year. I believe this is your 5th survey?
Yeah.
Actually, All India Manufacturers Organization is a body which is celebrating its 75th anniversary with a membership of over 550,000 industries, mainly small-scale industries across the country. When the demonetization was announced on 8th of November last year, we formed a committee to quickly collect the information about concerning industry's performance. The first report was published on 25th of November, second was on 25th of December, third was on 25th of January. And during the period of the demonetization, we found the traders and the small-scale industries were the worst sufferers in terms of job, in terms of revenue. These two segments normally give employment to unorganized laborers. Daily wages labor, unorganized labor, unskilled laborers were mainly employed by these two segments largely in India. And they were hugely impacted. And main reason for that was most of the staffs were standing in the queue at ATM to collect their cashes. Most of the work got stopped at the field, so cash was not there. With the company, the expenses could not be met, which can only be met by cash. For example, traveling, eating outside in the shops for the workers level, they were all cash transaction areas. Since there was no cash, no activity. Since there is no activity, people were sent back home. Since they were sent back home, revenue was lost. The revenue loss led us to unhealthiness of the industries. Now, post-demonetization, actually, the medium-sized industries and the large-scale industries started showing up the impact of the job loss because they had organized a segment of employment for which they need to give, they cannot hire and fire. They need to give notice times, which was served to them sometime during November and December, and they exited their operations from February and March. This was largely noticed. Then came the first quarter of this financial year. As you know, in India, the financial year starts from 1st of April, ends on 31st of March. So we started the first quarter, which was April 1st, April, June, July. During these 3 months, people...
Sure. In fact, we're showing some highlights of that survey on our screen as well, sir. Just to understand what sectors as per your survey were hit and what is the scope of your survey. I was reading on your site you have 3 lakh members. So how many people have actually participated in this survey? We're trying to determine how wide and representative it really is.
Sir, the survey was based on an online collecting the data from several members. We have 14 state boards across the country, and then also in the field trying to get the opinions of experts, individual consultants, and the team which we had in the AIMO constituted to study the impact. We really wanted to be prepared, and we knew that there will be short-term pains when such a large magnitude of a decision making was done, and we wanted to appraise the government of what changes are required to handle day-to-day ground reality. That was the objective, so that the people in the power are well informed of the realities. So the survey per se was, I would say, roughly about 50 to 60,000 people at any point of the survey were involved in collecting the data.
Right, sir, but
and you don't forget.
Right. So
you don't have to forget that it's not only the job loss, it was also the salaries were cut down by 30% to 40%.
Right, so that is job loss.
Was not
that's job loss, job creation in your online survey. But another thing I want to ask you about your survey is about job creation, because there are numbers linked to job creation as well. And you talk about how job creation in November to December 2016 was obviously zero, but then it improved in the Jan to March months to 10 to 15%, then increased further to 20-25% in April and June. And then it fell a little later from July to October. Could you take us through those numbers, please?
Very simple. You see, I run a small-scale industry. I was not able to perform doing my duty during November and December because of the demonetization, cash trapping, and things like that. Now, I have orders. I need to execute. I have been delayed. So I try to hurry up with the limited cash available in January, February, and with the collection being poor on one side, I need to hurry up to complete the job. So I increase the job opportunities for newcomers, opportunities for new people, and try to push out my orders so that I do some turnovers. I keep myself alive in the market. But then the problem was collection. My sundry debtors went high. Normally, a small scale industry is either an ancillary unit or a semi-component supplier to a large scale industry. That's what is predominantly you will find in the small scale industry sector. Take the builders market. That was the worst hit in the market. But when the builder is hit, who is connected people with it? The building material suppliers, the service providers for the building construction, like the mason, carpenter, electrician, the laborers, the workers, the vehicle suppliers, cement supply, everything connected with it gets affected. Now, when a builder stops construction activity, he also stops payment activity to the contractors. So it had a cascading impact. So the building sector was one. Secondly was the infrastructure, like road construction, mall construction, infrastructure creations, which involved unorganized laborers, contractors, several service providers during the process, mostly involved with cash transaction. That is what we highlighted.
So, just a couple of points, and I was going through your report as well. You have highlighted the fact also that a large number of people who lost their jobs were in the age bracket of 40 to 50 years. And you've talked about how problematic that is. If you could expand on that and also give us a sense now, a year down, do you see things perhaps improving in the near future, in the next couple of quarters? What are the trends that you see out of the 5 surveys you've done?
See, what happened really was post-demonetization, which was January, February, March, which is the last quarter of our financial annual balance sheets, we tried ramping up a little bit to do the sales because our revenues had come down drastically during demonetization period. So post-March, balance sheet showed a little improvement in the top line, but large erosion of the bottom line. So cutting of the costs were becoming perennially important. Most of the companies, what they did was the cost of the people between 40 to 50 were the highest in their company. So they sacked them and they gave additional responsibilities to the junior staff. For example, an engineer with 3 to 4 years of experience was asked to do an engineer with 10 to 15 years of experience at almost half the price. And some of those people at 40 to 50 were sometimes offered even 30% to 40% monthly salary cut. This was necessary for the organization to keep their nose above the water. I'm not talking healthiness, but at least survive, float, keep the nose above the water. That is what we said. 40 to 50 age group job loss was significantly found higher in the first quarter of this financial year. And it went down more once the GST got launched in July 1st in India. And you know that attached several postal issues, technology related issues in the GST, tariff issues were the issues, strikes were galloring in the market. It continued more deeper. Now, a guy at 40 to 50 is the most responsible age group because his children are started going to the school or college level or sometimes even to the marriage level. His parents are elderly, he needs to take care of them. Finding an alternate job at that age group is not that easy. He is constrained by migrating to another city to look for a job because his roots are grounded here. It had a compounding effect. So the stress level of this 40 to 50 group was very high. The other one which we interestingly noticed was the starters, career starters found no jobs.
Right.
1.4 million engineers are produced in India every year. Unfortunately, in this year, only about 200,000 engineers got job offers when they passed out,
Right.
as against 1 million engineers who get. So the youth of this country became jobless because opportunities were shrink.
Right.
This was significant.
Right, Mr. Raghunathan, thanks so much for speaking with us on Bloomberg Quint and taking us through the findings of that online survey. Of course, well, that's the IMO survey, which was actually pegged job losses due to after demonetization up to 55%. Now, while the jury is still out on whether demonetization is a success or not, political parties continue to spar over whether it was a correct decision in the first place. If yesterday's exchange between former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Finance Minister Jaitley was round one, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari and former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram were involved in round two of the fight over demonetization.
Now, Gadkari hailed the 58% growth in digital transactions as a positive effect after demonetization. Speaking to the media today, Gadkari also pointed out that the tax base has widened following the note ban.
जाली नोट काफ़ी बड़े प्रमाण पर हट गए हैं और आतंकी गतिविधियों को अंकुश लगा है। जाली नोटों की समस्या की जड़ पर प्रहार करना देश के हित में राष्ट्रीयता के दृष्टि से बहुत आवश्यक था। नोटबंदी के चलते आतंकवादियों और नक्सलियों का वित्त पोषण लगभग बंद हो गया है। इसका सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण है जम्मू कश्मीर में पत्थरबाजी होती थी तथा अन्य गतिविधियां जो चल रही थी उसमें पत्थर फेंकना ही बंद हो गया क्योंकि उस समय में नोटों की किल्लत आ गई और ये बाहर आ गई ये फैक्ट जो आपके मीडिया ने भी एक्सपोज किया है कि ये पत्थरबाजी करने वालों को पैसा मिलता था।
Now, P. Chidambaram responded to Finance Minister Arun Jaitley's remarks on demonetization being an ethical step. The senior Congress leader today questioned the centre on whether it is ethical to let millions suffer in its aftermath. Chidambaram today scaled up his attack on the government by asking if it was ethical to destroy small businesses and 15 lakh regular jobs. Meanwhile, the opposition has united today to observe the anniversary of note ban as a black day.
And we'll be talking a lot more on the politics of demonetization up ahead on the Primetime debate. We'll be joined by BJP spokesperson Nalin Kohli. We're talking to Congress MP in the Rajya Sabha Rajiv Gowda and A.K. Bhattacharya from the Business Standard. Do stay tuned for that conversation. Of course, up ahead on Primetime debate, we are speaking to CII President Shobna Kamineni as well. Now, one of the largest beneficiaries of the demonetization experiment is digital payments platform Paytm. Founder Vijay Shekhar Sharma is confident of maintaining his company's growth momentum. Speaking to Bloomberg Quint's Menika Doshi and Neeraj Shah, Sharma welcomed the new regulatory norms and said that he believed in interoperability and KYC norms. He also said that Paytm is awaiting the nod of RBI to create 1 lakh banking points.
We believe that a disproportionate amount of a target setting helps team rally around those targets and achieve them. And I think we've been able to be lucky that we've not just achieved those, we've crossed those targets too. And I've been very publicly open about it that we'll be 500 million bank customers who are biometrically verified and confirmed by 2020.
So this is not conservative, this is not lofty really. You presume this is something that is very realistic for you.
Yeah, that's right. No way. Okay. I mean, we'll be the largest bank by the customer base in this country.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Okay.
That's our ambition. We want to be like a certain percentage of population in the market.
Yeah, Vijay, where are you on the payment bank numbers? I think you had said that you were going to set up 31 branches, 33 controlling offices, 3,000 access points. How many customers do you have for the payment bank now? Can you give us a sense of what the scale is of the bank?
Yeah, I think my CEO talked a few days back and she was telling that we are in tens of million customers number, and the official number we want to keep it for the day when we launch with checking account, saving account also, so that we can share that number. So that's a very healthy number, number one. And number two is about the number of banking points. So branch, ultra low cost branch, control points, and our Paytm ka ATM points. Right now we've sent RBI requests of 100,000 banking points in the country. So So when we formally are talking, the number of places where customers can walk in, deposit cash, take cash, and do the banking is headed towards 100,000 in the first year itself.
Vijay, if I may, the favorite question that almost everybody has for all high growth companies is what about the funding requirements, and how many rounds of fundings and at what valuations would you envisage doing them? I know you can't give specific numbers, but any thoughts thereof?
Vijay, can I answer this question for you?
You can try, yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it in Hindi film style, Vijay. I'm going to roll up my sleeve. You can't see this. You can't see this, but I'm going to roll up my sleeve and say to Neeraj, "Mere paas Alibaba hai."
नहीं, मेरे पास माँ है.
Sorry, damn. You outdid me on that one.
All right. So Neeraj, I think it's important to know that any high growth company, like you said, has to have capital access. I think I'm privileged that SoftBank and Alibaba and any of our shareholders are, first of all, we have few shareholders, and second, we have long-term shareholders and with long-term capital access. I think that is one of the most important aspect of whatever the plan that we're building. So there is no secret about it that we will need more capital. But as of now, when we look at our books and our availability of capital, we're totally well capitalized beyond 2020 also, with the numbers that we're talking, investments and the customer growth. That said, after 2020, we talk about after 2020.
All right, that's a very interesting conversation that Bloomberg had with Paytm founder, and you can catch that on bloombergquint.com. Now, staying with this digital theme, digital transactions in India surged after November 8th last year. Usage of prepaid wallets increased significantly, but once the cash returned, has the digital transition lost some of its mojo? Nishant Sharma sums up the picture before, during, and after demonetization in this report.
Well, last year when the Narendra Modi government invalidated the rupees 500 and 1000 rupees note, it was said that the move will provide a big impetus to the digital payment platforms in the country, apart from it being an all-out war against the black money. Now, we looked at the data of digital payment platforms, which includes debit cards, IMPS, NEFT, PPI, and even UPI, to understand how exactly the digital payment platforms have grown over the past 1 year. Now, to begin with, mobile wallets or the prepaid payment instruments are one of the biggest beneficiaries of demonetization. Now, if you look at the data, prepaid transactions almost doubled since demonetization. Another offering which has seen almost similar kind of surge, both in value and volume, is National Payment Council of India's UPI. If you look at the data again, monthly value surged from rupees 90 crores after that note ban to rupees 7,000 crores now. Similarly, IMPS, which again includes the data of UPI, has also grown by 89% during the same period. However, if you look at NEFT or National Electronic Fund Transfer, although we are seeing a 42% surge in its value if you compare the data of August 2016 to August 2017, but the pace at which it has grown is at par at its historical pace of growth. And similar is the case with the debit card volumes. Although we are seeing a 13% increase in the volume of debit card transactions, however, the growth that it has grown, it is at par with the historical pace of growth. But interestingly, if you look at cash withdrawals at ATM, that has grown by 176% since December. So I think it would be fair to say that the moment cash made a comeback to the system, traditional payment platforms like NEFT or debit cards have come back to the traditional pace of growth. However, the real winners of demonetizations are these new age digital payment platforms like PPI and UPI, which are growing faster, although now they're growing slightly slower than the initial spike they saw around the months of demonetization.
Now, after banks and mutual funds, insurance companies will now ask for your Aadhaar details. Bloomberg Quint's Ridhima Saxena is standing by with more on that story. Ridhima, how does this impact customers and insurance companies?
So, Tamanna, the Aadhaar and PAN card linkage that was voluntary so far for policy holders has now been made mandatory by the Indian insurance regulator. This means that there will be an added documentation burden for both the consumers and the companies, as even the existing policy holders will be applicable to this ruling. This comes into effect on an immediate basis. Also, I would like to tell you that we spoke to a lot of insurance companies, and and we found out that the life insurers had already begun the process of Aadhaar number linkage, whereas for the general insurance companies, this may pose some short-term challenges. This development comes amidst Supreme Court hearing petitions on Aadhaar number linkage to government schemes being violative of individual privacy rights.
Right, Ridhima, thanks so much for that update. Well, it looks like you need to link your Aadhaar. In one more scenario now, the Delhi government has ordered all private and government schools in the National Capital Region to be closed for the remainder of the week. Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia said that the air quality in the city is getting worse and children's health can't be compromised. The order will be reviewed once again on Sunday. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has written to Chief Ministers of Haryana and Punjab seeking a meeting to discuss how to tackle pollution from stubble burning in the two states.
Now, the Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority has said that pollution levels in Delhi have hit severe plus levels. This has led to the authority ordering an immediate ban on civil construction works and the entry of trucks, except those carrying essential commodities into the city. The decisions were approved by Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal in a meeting which was also attended by Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. A decision on whether or not to implement the odd-even car rationing scheme will be taken tomorrow.
The levels of pollution are very high in the very poor or severe range, which means that it is to some extent a medical emergency because it is leading to high chances of people with cardiorespiratory diseases and elderly, especially the young and the older people, having high chance of respiratory and cardiac problems, which can lead to increased emergency visits and can lead to higher deaths also.
Those who are fit, no jogging, no walking, no morning walk, no evening walk, no parties in the open, no smoking, no passive smoking at all, and then minimal vehicular use as much as possible. Go out only if it is necessary, otherwise stay at home at work.
Now, after video surfaced last night of an airline passenger in a scuffle with the staff of low-cost airline Indigo, Civil Aviation Minister Ashok Gajapati Raju has condemned the assault and sought an independent report from the aviation regulator DGCA. Indigo has issued an apology for the incident which took place yesterday. And the CBI has named a student of class 11 in Ryan International School as the new suspect in its probe of 7-year-old Pradyuman's murder. 2 months ago, the boy was found dead with his throat slit in Gurgaon's Ryan International School. Police has arrested Pradyuman's school bus conductor for the crime the same day. Now the CBI says a 16-year-old student is its main suspect based on CCTV footage, forensic and scientific evidence. The CBI had detained the juvenile for questioning last night. CBI spokesperson Abhishek Dayal says that the boy wanted his school exams as well as parent-teacher meeting postponed as a motive for the murder.
Arvind will carve out branded apparel and engineering businesses into separate listed firms. Arvind looks to unlock value from its fastest growing lifestyle division that contributes more than a third of its revenue. Bloomberg Quinn caught up with Sanjay Lalbhai, the CMD of the company, who said the move will generate more cash flow. Listen in.
No, we are setting these companies on an independent course. So, Arvind Fashions and Anup Engineering, which is our engineering firm, is being given to the existing shareholders of Arvind Limited. The advantage is that they become independent. They have many more opportunities of raising more financial options, of raising resources for organic or inorganic kind of growth. And there is a much higher focus because they are quite independent and away from a conglomerate.
Now, Indian markets for the second straight day were dragged down by index heavyweights Bharti Airtel, Reliance Industries, ICICI Bank and Tata Motors. Both the benchmark indices fell by nearly 0.5%. Broader markets too incurred sharper cuts.
Twitter announced today that its users can now use up to 280 characters to express their views instead of the earlier 140 character limit. In a blog post, Twitter explained that during the September trial of the expanded limit, they found users spent less time editing on the composer and were able to send more tweets faster. Twitter, which had 330 million monthly users at the end of September, said the update will extend to 6 Indian languages, including Bengali, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Marathi and Tamil.
And of course, while the new 280 character limit has mixed reactions, the Twitter universe lost no time to react to the update. Let's take a look at a peek of some of the most inventive tweets.
So this one was obviously a nice, interesting one by AIB. Twitter ka naya 280 character tweet limit try karna. Problem kya hai? It's a nice long one. So it's up on the screens for everyone to actually go on. It goes on talking about lassi and dairy. Netflix US actually said, should all seasons now be 280 episodes instead? Respond with a well thought out paragraph if you agree. Because you have that freedom now, Tamanna.
That's true. But you know, I think the exciting bit about Twitter was also its forced brevity.
Yeah.
Which gets people to sort of say more in lesser words. And once you're used to that, I don't know if you want to see longer paras and essays and rants maybe, which are also there.
Oh, this is Twitter. A lot of people just going on with much longer tweets for the sake of it. If I wanted to do 200 characters, I'd go read Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Interesting ones coming. Well, it's always the case, right? Look at that. In NBA referees, I think Donald Trump took no time, even during his Asia trip, to actually tweet a nice 280 character tweet right out there, you know. So it's kind of interesting. You've had CEOs, everyone weighing in. But yeah, those are some of those.
And remember, you have 280 characters now on Twitter to tell us what you think of this show, what you want to see, to comment. Of course, there's always Facebook and other medium to get in touch with us. BloombergQuint.com is where you can reach us. Thanks for watching. But Primetime Debate up next. We're talking about demonetization. Remember, it's been exactly 1 year. We're coming back with a conversation with Shobna Kamineni, CII President, as well as the political debate in just a bit from now.
Stay tuned.